Chapter 3 of Black Myth Wukong completely blew my mind. The philosophical twists, gripping storyline, powerful anime, and haunting soundtrack all come together seamlessly. Let's dive in today and uncover what it's really trying to tell us.
If not for winning, why debate over means and ends?
In the game, Yellowbrow twists the 8 Precepts of Buddhism, the guidelines that urge people to abstain from certain actions, presenting them in a style reminiscent of the 10 Commandments from the King James Bible, giving it a very archaic and authoritative tone that fits his character perfectly. But here's how they translate into plain language. If you don't kill, then feuds will take root. If you don't steal, then you can never become strong. If you don't commit adultery, then all loves become karmic ties. If you don't lie, then you will not gain prestige or leave a legacy. If you don't drink, then your unease will not sink or be relieved. If you don't revel, then you will waste your prime years just settling. If you don't dream, then you will miss the only light in the darkness. If you don't indulge, then your life will only be a burden. At first, I thought it was all just villainous nonsense. But as I keep listening and reflecting on the human history and our daily lives, I began to feel a little bit conflicted. The more I think about it, the harder it became to completely disagree with him. Killing to prevent feuds, stealing to get stronger, drinking to ease our discomfort. All these things sound very bad at first, but why the history often seems to repeat itself? Could there be some harsh truth behind his words that we just do not want to face? Then until I realized, it wasn't the words themselves that were the problem, it was the approach. If you are feeling as conflicted as I am, try this. Remove all the don'ts and see what it reveals. Take a moment to reflect, as we are about to dive deep into the animation, where we will have all the questions answered. The sky grows dark, thunder rumbles. Something falls from the sky, crashing into the stormy seas below. It opens its eyes, drifting along the waves, with seagulls landing on it without sensing any danger. As it looks up, a fishing net suddenly sweeps down, revealing its true form, a giant turtle with human-like features, hauled up by the fisherman. This is actually Yellowbrow in disguise. In Chinese mythology, giant turtles are known as powerful creatures capable of living for 1,000 years, symbolizing longevity and strength. In the original Journey to the West story, one carried the squad to cross a river, but sought help from the monk Tang Sanzang, Wukong's master, to ask the Buddha when it could escape its shell and be reborn as a human. The turtle represents the pain of immortality and the desire for release from the cycle of reincarnation. And you might ask, what's that to do with the Yellowbrow? Why does he take this form? We shall come back to this later. The fisherman carried the giant turtle along a narrow mountain path. Along the way, stone statues by the roadside show that people here still follow Buddhism. The turtle opens its eyes again, seeing the fisherman and local officials, filled with fear and uncertainty about what to do with him. In response, the turtle slashes its own body with the nails, but instead of blood, jewels pour out of the wounds. This town was in ruins and barely surviving. The villagers carried the turtle back into the town. They gazed at it with hope, as if praying for salvation. The turtle made a Buddhist mantra and magically created a pill that saved the dying child. It then secreted a green liquid that restored the youth and beauty of the woman. With just a wave of its hand, houses appeared, and it stormed a massive catch of fish from the sea, which rained down over the village. Soon, the turtle was worshipped as the town's guardian deity. Its temple was small at first, but the couplets were grand. 何负众生受大苦，今入长乐无为处, meaning, enduring great suffering and carrying sentient beings, he now has entered the state of eternal bliss, independent of conditions. This is taken from Buddha pronounces the Sutra of Maitreya Bodhisattva's attainment of Buddhahood, praising the Buddha Shakyamuni. This mirrors Yellowbrow's impersonation of the Buddha in the original Journey to the West story to capture Tang Sanzang, reflecting its desire for power and ambition. It also ties into the game's depiction of Yellowbrow, who dismisses the Buddha's authority and seeks to establish his own sect.
Why bet on the sutra when one oneself can be a Buddha?
However, Yellowbrow only managed to fulfill part of the sutra's message, achieving the eternal bliss without taking on any suffering for the others, which clearly reveals Yellowbrow's self-centered philosophy. Soon, the Buddha statues were replaced by the turtle's image, and people from all over came to worship, including officials and monks. They helped build the temple and erect the statues, drawing crowds of pilgrims. The town now had a new faith. The scene shifts to show the turtle basking in the offerings from the villagers. On a full moon night, they gathered around the bonfires, holding ceremonies in its honor, presenting fish, fruits, and other offerings. They prayed with great devotion, hoping to receive jewel in return. Monks kept the records, merchants weighed goods, and officials distributed the wealth. As they waited, murmurs spread through the crowd. All eyes were fixed on the turtle as it repeatedly slashed his body. The turtle seemed enjoying the feast, but something in expression suggested it was searching for something more. Then, a man in the crowd was suddenly pulled forward by the collar by an invisible hand. The turtle seemed to cast a spell within its eyes, pushing the man towards it. His vision filled with the glittering treasures, and soon he could no longer see clearly. The man shoved through the crowd, blade in hand, and before anyone could react, he struck the turtle with a single blow. Shock spread through the crowd as the turtle screamed in pain. Precious treasures scattered to the ground, and the greed of the villagers took over. They scrambled to grab the fallen riches. The turtle swatted the attacker away, sending him flying several meters, blood gushing from his nose and mouth. As the situation descended into chaos, more and more villagers joined in this frenzied looting. With each passing moment, the scene grew more chaotic. The turtle's enormous body, like a breaking dam, continued to spill waves of golden jewels. In its final agonized moments, the turtle collapsed, but if you look upside down, you will notice something very strange. The turtle's mouth curls into an eerie smile. What follows is a montage of madness. The villagers swamped the turtle's body, tearing it apart to seize the treasures inside. It was a scene reminiscent of ants devouring the carcass of a giant snake, and old women smeared the green liquid on their faces, desperate to regain their youth. A fleeting shot shows sharks ripping apart their prey. Meanwhile, the monk clasped their hands in prayer, seemingly trying to atone for the sins of the villagers or resist the overwhelming temptation around them. But as we see the naked women dancing behind them, it's clear that their resolve was crumbling. Soon, even the monks, still dressed in their kasaya, began to gather the scattered jewels. The villagers climbed over the turtle's remains like they were scaling a mountain. In a disturbing shot, a child joins the crowd, watching as others gouge out the turtle's massive eyeball. A close-up reveals the discarded skull on the ground, resembling a fish cleaned by the fisherman. As this madness rages on, the villagers gave in completely, casting aside their morals and unleashing their darkest desires. Some strip off their clothes, while others desecrate the turtle's corpse. Even the monks, having abandoned their resistance, indulged in pleasures they had never known. The background even shows more deep conversation already taking place. The frenzy reached the peak, with people slaughtering one another for their share of loot. Villagers waved their spoils and severed limbs, like the turtle's hand, which had once healed the child, were raised as trophies. It's hard to shake the feeling that something is off. With all its power, couldn't the turtle have easily stopped this chaos from the beginning? The answer became clear. It was all intentional. If you tilt the scene slightly, you can see one woman's face, filled with an eerie sense of satisfaction. The shot then cuts to an old monk, whose expression says it all. People gathered with an unsettling smile on their faces. In the final shot, the turtle's remains are burned into ashes. All of this happened on a full moon night, which in Chinese culture symbolizes unity, harmony, and happiness. How ironic, then, that such chaos and destruction would take place under the very symbol of serenity. Time passes, and the once faithful town is reduced to a desolate wasteland. The turtle's bones remain, rooted in place. In the distance, a monk approaches and speaks to the turtle's remains.
You tarried in the mortal world for a good while, didn't you?
Once again, I proved it to you, Jin Shansu.
You chose a means to an end, not to a proof. You sow chaos in hearts just for the sake of winning. How absurd and pathetic.
Jin Tanzhi's words suddenly enlightened me. In Yellowbrow's carefully designed experiment, he used manipulation and temptation to try to prove that human nature is inherently evil. By exploiting power and hypocrisy, he amplified greed, laziness, and selfishness, creating a vortex of chaos and desire. His goal was to use people's downfall to validate his view of human nature. Yellowbrow chose means to an end, sowing chaos in hearts just for the sake of winning. What seems like a victory was actually a distortion. He deliberately ignored human kindness, suppressing good deeds, and reached his preset conclusion. But the real question isn't about the outcome, it's about the corrupted methods he used to control the process. This manipulation mirrors his twisted 8 precepts, where the don't becomes a superficial rule to control behavior, but not the root cause of suffering. These precepts, like Yellowbrow's experiment, was an attempt to fix the human flaws by forcing certain actions. Yet, just as removing the don'ts reveals that karmic truth behind each action, showing how greed, violence, and deceit only create more suffering. His approach focuses on manipulation symptoms, not addressing their causes. Human nature isn't simply good or evil, but defined by each choice, by the constant struggle to uphold justice and morality. It's eventually a question of do or do not. Yellowbrow's struggle goes beyond his extreme view of good and evil. Like the giant turtle, he embodies strength with immense power and longevity. And just as the turtle endures eternal suffering, Yellowbrow is trapped in his own struggle, his obsession with winning. He isn't seeking liberation from suffering, but merely chasing dominance. The couplets outside his temple reveals his flaw. His action actually carries absolutely no suffering for sentient beings, ignoring the true cause while only focusing on his own eternal joy of winning. This irony shows how he fixates on the ends, neglecting the chain of cause and effect. There's an old Chinese saying, 勿以善小而不为，勿以恶小而为之. Don't neglect a small good deed just because it seems insignificant. And don't commit a small wrong simply because it seems minor. Being human means we will encounter desires, greed, and weakness. But it's our awareness of these flaws that gives us the chance to rise above them. Learning from those wisdom words, the stories like this in the game, and most importantly, our own very human history, I hope every one of us can try best to make the right choice and make the world a better place. I have spent a lot of time and effort to make this video, and if you enjoyed so far, please give it a like, subscribe, and support this new channel to grow. Thanks a lot. Let's end the video with a theme song with my direct translation from the Chinese lyrics, as I feel like we might have missed some context from the official English version. So please enjoy and let me know what you think.